Bismillah. Wa salatu wa salam wa rasulullah wa ba'da, in the name of Allah, and the peace and blessing of Allah be upon his last and final messengers, family, friends, foes, haters, and the hateettes. Welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love and no hatred in my heart. Salaam Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got a hell of haters up in this his head. Now, family, we've been doing this show for a better part of maybe I want to say three, like this particular show, the Feachaz in terms of black issues, particularly black issues in the black community and geopolitics, and we kind of segued into geopolitics and things of that nature. We talked a lot about the what you call the conventions of economic hitman, and we read quite a bit from that book where we got a lot of our insights from. We also got a lot of insights from the 48 Laws of Power, and of course, ayat and hadith and things of this nature, right? And what we are seeing take place right now in terms of the global stage is, as we mentioned before, this is the end of white supremacy. Okay, white supremacy is coming to a close, and this is why you find your old school white supremacists holding very, very hard onto the system of white supremacy. Okay, they're trying to hang on to power for dear life. And it's not going to get any better. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. You're going to see a lot of pain. You're going to see a lot of turmoil. And you're going to see in my humble opinion, you're going to see borders changed and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be really crazy, especially this year in 2025. You're going to see a lot of big changes, right? And we're already seeing the madness take place. So it didn't even take long. Like the first day in 2025, the madness just started. It just absolutely started. And it really hasn't slowed down since. There's so much stuff to cover. And we can't really cover all of it. It's just too much. But there's another aspect to this, which is a spiritual aspect, in which the Prophet ﷺ, he described our times in great detail. They call it the age of the liars, where the liar will be seen as the truthful and the truthful will be seen as the liars. And then you will see Ruwaybala, being put into positions of power. And the Sahaba, they knew what this word was. Ruwaybala, what's that, right? And so they asked him, Ya Rasulullah, what is Ruwaybala? And he said, vile men who don't deserve to have these positions, something like this. We can look it up. Anyways, so one of y'all can bring the hadith and we can read it out for y'all. But we quote this hadith quite a bit, right, on this channel for many, many times, because we used to think about this hadith way back in the day, back in the 90s, back in the 2000s, and we used to have a little bit of guesswork with regards to the Ruwaybala. We used to think, is it these ones, is it that ones? But now we're not guessing. They as plain as day. Okay? They're as plain as day. You don't have to guess no more. You're talking about your Tubian elites, for one. You're talking about these folks that are in positions of power. Your Donald Trumps, your Elon Musk of the world. You're talking about Bolsonaro. You're talking about all of these really just disgusting folks. The leadership in Argentina, leadership in Italy. This is crazy. It's madness happening right now. Absolute madness, and it's absolutely bonkers. But one of the things that we said way before it happened is that Donald Trump, he will be president. We said this. We already knew this. We already predicted this. And we also knew that there will be a Muslim contingent who are hell-bent on voting against their self-interest in order to prop up white supremacy. We said all that. Y'all hear me? So we put all of that out there. Okay? And on top of that, we said that 20, like once he gets in, that's when all the changes you're gonna see take place. Y'all hear me? 1 second, y'all. Let me just fix this. Number one's in the chat if y'all can hear me, okay? I'm gonna fix this. I think something's going on with my mic here. 1 second, y'all. Let me just fix this over here. 1 second. Okay. I think that's better now. How's my mic sound, y'all? Number one's in the chat if y'all can hear me, okay? Number one's in the chat if y'all can, because I think there's something going on with my mic before. I think I had it on the wrong settings, but I think it's good now. Like, so I really can't hear myself with these headphones on. Okay, but I digress. The point is, one of the things that we said was that Donald Trump, he would be president, and that happened. We predicted that like so many times, right? And we also said that when the vote for him is not actually a vote for him. We said this many times. We said when you're voting for him, you're actually voting for an entire project, because the project called Project 2025. And we said that his second go around is not going to be nothing like the first go around. And it's already showing that this is actually absolutely the case. You're already seeing that this is the case. Y'all hearing me? Mind you, the shucking and jiving from the wider community was so outrageous. It's quite shameless, actually, that we did some videos on that as well. So I just want to remind y'all what we said previously. Okay, let me just share this with y'all. 1 second, family. 1 second, y'all. Let me just share this with y'all, family. So let me remind y'all what we put out previously. Okay. So this is from a live that we did. It's called Sambalicious Muslims. Okay, y'all can check it out in the lives. All right, Sambalicious Muslims, Muslim-looking people endorse Trump. And this is what we put out. Now look at this, y'all. This is what we put out, y'all. Watch this, family.
Genders, as the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war.
Keep watching. Look at these guys. In case you missed it.
Good afternoon, Michiganders. As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises.
Family, do we as Muslims stand with Donald Trump? I'm just saying. Do we as Muslims stand with Donald Trump? I was saying back then. That's what I was saying. Okay. Don't tell me I didn't warn y'all. I said this way back then. Does Donald Trump have a promise that he keeps? Did we call it or did we call it? This is too much, man. They're like, what in the world is going on here, man?
Peace, not war. We are supporting Donald Trump because he promised to end war in the Middle East and Ukraine. The bloodshed has to stop all over the world. And I think this man can make that happen.
And this is what we said. Ain't this what we said? We said when it comes to their interest, all of a sudden they become interested in stopping the bloodshed.
I'm just saying.
So much so that they put their support behind a devil like Donald Trump. A
I'm
man
just
who
saying.
does not have a promise that he keeps, a man that doesn't have a word that he has upholds, a man who was well known internationally to be highly corruptible. So if you can put your support behind him, you ain't got no chance against the job. No chance.
And we said what we said. Y'all hear me? We said this how long ago now? All right. And it all came true. I'm just saying. Number one's in the chat if y'all can hear me, please. Y'all are real quiet. Okay. Put number one in the chat if y'all can hear me. Okay. So, anyways, moving on, right? Because we're trying to establish an argument here. Let me go over here. So, we're going to share this with y'all. And this is from the live called Muslims Buy Remorse for Trump. Right? So let's watch this, y'all.
Or maybe start with my main fear was that the Muslim community would buckle, that they would get cold feet at the end and they would run back to the Democrats. If we were thinking and we were making up scenarios before the election happened, what would be the worst case scenario for Muslim political power? It would be to make a whole bunch of noise about punishing genocide, and then for Muslims to chicken out and to run back to Harris and to essentially give her a promotion, promoting her from vice president to president for being part of the administration that is responsible for the current genocide. That was the worst case scenario.
Any administrator would have signed off on that genocide. Okay. But anyways, I digress. Keep watching.
When it comes to building power, when it comes to being taken seriously, when it comes to political matters.
This guy is a political science BA. Look, listen how he's talking. Does any, forget about his BA for a second, okay? Let's say he didn't have his BA. Let's say he didn't know anything about him. Okay, he didn't know his name, nothing like that. Just based on this little segment only, which part of the political spectrum would you say that he is? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Somebody put it in the chat. And we said what we said. Like, how are you going to say something like this, that your whole goal is to punish Kamala Harris, who is not a president, and your goal is not to end the war. Your goal is to punish Kamala Harris. But he know very well. He can't say that our goal is to end the war if we're voting for Donald Trump. He can't say that. Because bare minimum, he's not sure. Okay. And bare maximum, yeah, he's pretty sure that that's not going to happen. But at least he gets a MAGA president. Y'all hearing me? But all of this gets us to this part right here, which is what I want to share with y'all right now. Now, look at here. Y'all know about the ceasefire that is taking effect today. I want y'all to listen. This is from Sky News, right? A Sky News clip, right? Listen to this, y'all.
Since he was elected, Trump was completely committed to the release of the hostages. We spoke on Wednesday. He congratulated me on the agreement, and he emphasized, and rightly so, that the first stage is a temporary ceasefire. This is what he said, a temporary ceasefire. Towards the next stages of the agreement, we are holding on to some significant assets so that we can bring back all of the hostages, and in order to accomplish all the goals of the war. Both President Trump and President Biden have provided full backing to Israel's right to resume fighting, to resume combat if Israel reaches the conclusion.
You see,
these celebrations are premature. That we've been seeing all over online. That we are 100% with the Palestinians, 100%. However, you're not going to stop a genocide with protesting. Just name one time in history that a genocide has ever been stopped with the protest of the people. Just name one. And in this particular instance, we know that the cutting off of armaments to God's chosen people, okay, has to come from the United Snakes of America, okay? That's where it has to come from. If you are not able to do that, then there has to be some other method in which the genocide has to be stopped. So we said from day one that if you're looking to stop the genocide, then you should vote Green Party, regardless of whether they win or not, because this is going to be it's not something that's going to be happening overnight. This thing has been boiling over for the better part of 80 years. However, there are so many moving parts to this because right now, at this day and age, God's chosen people, okay, have never been more isolated. They have never been more isolated than today. God's chosen people. Okay? God's chosen people have never had such a bright shining light shone on them and lost more allies than Lizzo lost weight. Left, right, and center. Because this genocide was televised. This is the world's first televised genocide all over your social media platforms. So much so that even the powers that shouldn't be were censoring and blocking and shutting down accounts. Sean King's account got completely shut down on Instagram where he made most of his money. A lot of people got shut down. My Instagram account got demonetized for sharing pro-Palestinian stuff. My Instagram account, totally demonetized for that. Okay? You know, can't tell me nothing. Now you have Mark Zuckerberg, mind you, Mark Zuckerberg, Zionist, okay, who's saying that he is no longer going to back these fact checkers and whatnot. What do y'all think is going to happen? For anybody who consumes their news off of Twitter, let's not call it X. It's not X. Let's call it Twitter, y'all. Okay. Anyone who consumes their news off of Twitter is going to be completely led astray. Anybody who consumes their news off of Facebook is going to completely led astray. And furthermore, you're going to find this large group of Muslim-looking folk who are going to be right there in the forefront spreading misinformation on behalf of the owners and controllers of your social media platforms who are working on behalf of Project 2025. These are all Project 2025 people. Y'all hear me? But I'm not finished. Let's keep watching, y'all.
Truly appreciate that. I also appreciate the decision of President Trump to lift all the remaining restrictions on the providing of essential munitions and weapons to the state of Israel. If we need to resume.
Did y'all hear that? In case you missed it, What do you say? Look here.
To lift all the remaining restrictions on the providing of essential munitions and weapons to the State of Israel. If we need to resume combat, we will do so in new ways, and we will do so with tremendous force.
So, if Biden was restricted, what's Benjamin? Yeah, what's Benny Boy here talking about ending the restrictions and stuff? What's he talking about, y'all? But at least we punished Kamala Harris. At least we did that, right? At least we punished Kamala Harris. Y'all are tripping, man. One second, y'all. So we're going to go back. We're going to run this one more again. Right? It's a short clip, so I want to run it back one more time so y'all can get it without interruption, family. 1 second.
Since he was elected, Trump was completely committed to the release of the hostages. We spoke on Wednesday. He congratulated me on the agreement, and he emphasized, and rightly so, that the first stage is a temporary ceasefire. This is what he said, a temporary ceasefire. Towards the next stages of the agreement, we are holding on to some significant assets so that we can bring back all of the hostages, and in order to accomplish all the goals of the war. Both President Trump and President Biden have provided full backing to Israel's right to resume fighting, to resume combat, if Israel reaches the conclusion that the negotiations over the second stage are pointless. I truly appreciate that. I also appreciate the decision of President Trump to lift all the remaining restrictions on the providing of essential munitions and weapons to the State of Israel. If we need to resume combat, we will do so in new ways, and we will do so with tremendous force.
All right, so y'all got that. You saw how giddy Bibi was for Trump, right? And we said this before anyways. We said that the Israeli lobby, the God's chosen people over there in the Holy Lands, AIPAC, all your main, like your big Jewish influencer, all of them, they're like 100% behind Donald Trump. So how can the enemy be 100% behind Donald Trump and the most be behind the same guy? How does that even work? Something is wrong here. This is not a case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend over here, family. But what is happening is, in this day and age, we're living in the age of liars. Let's keep it a buck. This is the actual age of liars. Okay, this is the actual age where the liars are actually believed and promoted, wildly promoted, by alleged Muslims. Folks who are fully invested in their own indoctrination through social media and do not have an ayah or a hadith which they stand on. They stand on populism. They will shamelessly tell you, yeah, I support Donald Trump and stuff like that. Shamelessly. So these are people who bounce from cult to cult in reality. They may leave one cult, some Sufi cult, some other kind of cult, just to come into the cult of Project 2025. But I digress. These are Muslim-looking folks. Ask them if they sign off on this, and see how they dance around the question. And this is something that it don't take a genius to figure out. All you got to do is look at this devil's behavior in the past. However, at the same time, because both Israel, God's chosen folks, okay, and the United Snakes of America, KKK, okay, because these folks are so isolated now, all of the chickens that you can think of are about to come home to roost. And everybody's true colors is about to show. Everything that was hidden will soon be revealed. There's no place to hide anymore. And the very few people that were out here standing on the truth bravely and courageously, there is going to be a lot of position taking to be had. What you're going to see, in my humble opinion, is people won't return to the truth. What they will do is they will double down on their falsehood to remain with the powers that shouldn't be. That's what I think is going to happen. They will, even though they know that these folks are just blatant liars and just outright devils. These demons can be shining their horns right in front of you, and they will still stand with them for safety and security and securing a bag and things of this nature. They'll still do it. That's what I think is going to happen. You're going to see a lot of pain coming in the West. You know what? Let me just show y'all something, okay? I'm going to pull this up. My wife sent this to me a couple of days ago. Let me see if I can find it. Let me show y'all something. Now, the opinion of Muslims of Justin Trudeau here in Canada is quite bad, okay? Muslims in general have a terrible opinion of him. When they had a good opinion of him previously, but when the fighting in Gaza started, they switched very quickly on Justin Trudeau. Okay. Now, Justin Trudeau recently, he announced his resignation and he's going to resign after a new party leader is picked out here in Canada, right? Now, I have to be very careful because I don't want to be cut off here on the stream because it's very likely that if I start talking Canadian politics, they'll cut off the stream. So I have to tread very lightly and very carefully. Okay? So, at any rate, the point being is that I can't think of a country or a Western leader that has done more for Palestinians than Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party of Canada. I personally don't know of a different. Maybe y'all do. Maybe y'all do. But I personally do not. And yet still, the Muslims out here, and we're talking about the immigrants. Let's be crystal clear. You're talking about your Arab immigrants, your Pakistani immigrants. They was out here, twitching and twirling and twerking when Justin Trudeau announced his resignation. Which tells me very clearly that this is a clear sign that these alleged protests have been either infiltrated or commandeered or whatnot. Because out of all the Western leaders, I don't know anybody has done more for Gazans and Palestinians than, as I mentioned before, Trudeau and the Canadian Liberals. For example, this is from the Canadian government website. Financial assistance for Gazans arriving in Canada now available. This is in January 16, 2025. That where Gazans can get assistance of one-time payment of $3,000 per month per adult and $1,500 per child, 17 years or under, who make it to Canada. Do you know any other country doing this? Muslim or non-Muslim or otherwise? I want y'all to look at this. See, I'm not making this up. Okay, now I'm going to cut this off, right? Because I don't want the stream to end, right? Abruptly. We got to be very careful, okay? We got to be really, really careful. But y'all all saw that, okay? The point is, Pierre-Paul Revere is highly likely to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. When he comes in, what do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do when he comes to power? Y'all think he's going to be worried about some Gazans somewhere, some Palestinians somewhere being bombed and depleted and things? You think he's going to care about all that? He will be the next Prime Minister. Furthermore, when he becomes Prime Minister, there is a very high chance that the borders of Canada will completely change. A very high chance, very high probability. And we said this before anyways. We said that, it's very likely with this particular administration that you will see the borders looking different, the end of a democracy in the West in general, and these folks losing their mind in order to prop up white supremacy. I don't think it's going to be a peaceful 4 years at all. Right? I think that the California fires will definitely expose what's going on in the West. People will not take that. And we will also see, it's just going to be crazy. You're going to see a lot of homelessness, a lot of joblessness, and civil unrest. You're going to see all that stuff. It's coming. It is coming. You're going to see the crashing of the US dollar. Tomorrow, you're going to see some craziness because allegedly tomorrow, that's when the tariffs are going to kick in, right? The tariffs that he's putting on Canada and Mexico and whatnot. Now, you got to remember that the BRICS nations, which includes China, they're making up their own currency right now. So if you want to tank your currency quicker, that would be the way to do it. Elon Musk now, what kind of currency does he invest in? Somebody put it in the chat, please. The type of currency that he invests in. What type of currency does Elon Musk invest in right now? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Does anybody know? I'll give you all a minute to think about that. Right, but he's been doing this for a long time, and this type of currency, if you can call it that, went exponentially up when Donald Trump won the election. Right? And that's what it is. Sister Tika, she got it. It's crypto. Department of what is it? Something, I don't know. What is the Department of what? the Doge, right? The Department of Government Efficiency. That's what it is, right? Department of Government Efficiency. That's Dogecoin. Bitcoin shot up. Dogecoin shot up. Tesla stock shot up. Not because he did anything amazing, but because Donald Trump won. And remember, he invested millions into Donald Trump's campaign. He already fired who knows how many Americans to bring in cheap labor from India to do work for him there in the United States. It's going to be very, very messy, very, very quickly. And it's not going to be peaceful. I highly doubt it. So if you want to tank your currency quickly, that would be the way to do it. And tariffs. Just put in tariffs when your currency is already in trouble. See what will happen. As volatile as crypto is, I do believe it's going to shoot way, way up. I do believe that. I believe that the rest of the world will lose complete confidence in the US dollar, including Arab countries like who have a history of using greenbacks, like Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia is pretty much done with the US now. China is a creditor state or creditor country, and they own a ridiculous amount of US debt. And if they write off that debt, forget it. Forget it. And US wants to do a trade war with China right now. All China has to do to end America, if they wanted to, they don't have to fire a single bullet. All they have to do is say, you know what? All that money that you owe us now, forget it. We're writing it off. That's all they have to do. If they do that, oh yeah, will they lose? Yeah, they'll lose, but they're not going to lose like America will. They will not lose like America will. And as well as the point that you have the Agenda 2025 folks who are not only are they running the show, right? They're the ones running the show, not Donald Trump. It's not him. And he's got a whole bunch of Zionists in his cabinet and a whole bunch of very, very far right people who don't deserve to be there. Right, running the show because they can implement these policies very quickly. They can go very, very fast and implement the policies of Agenda 25, which is what the point of Agenda 2025 anyways. That was the whole point. You've seen Donald Trump talking about, absorbing Canada into the United States and things of that nature. We talked about this last year anyways. We said that that was a possibility even before Trump said it, and some of y'all thought he was joking or whatnot, and I don't think he's joking, and I do think it's a possibility, right? Especially with Canadian politics right now. If you guys know anything about Canada, what's happening right now is that a lot of the provincial leaders are running their provinces like countries anyways. They're running the provinces as if they are separate and distinct from the country of Canada. You have Danielle Smith, who recently visited Trump at Mar-a-Lago. When the government of Canada had a meeting with the premiers of the provinces, guess who was the one premier who did not show up? Yes, you guessed it, is Danielle Smith, okay, of Alberta, okay? She didn't show up. She's the only one who didn't show up. They're trying to figure out how to work around these tariffs that Trump is going to implement. Danielle Smith decides she's not going to show up. This is unprecedented in Canadian history. You have Doug Ford, who is arbitrarily ending government OHIP. OHIP is like government care here in Canada. He's bringing in private medical care organizations into Ontario. Unprecedented. Yeah, absolute madness going on out here. And anyways, we said this last year anyways. We said that it's very likely that both US and Canada will break up into different things. We believe that still. We believe it's going to happen sooner rather than later. It's not going to be no 5-year, 10-year thing. No, I believe it will happen anywhere between this year to next year or it's basically going to be something different. If the borders don't change, you're going to have like a monumental thing happen, like some sort of, you know how NAFTA kind of changed the dynamics in the West when NAFTA was first implemented. It's going to be something like this. It's going to be a completely border changing thing. People are going to feel a lot of pain. Millions and millions and millions of people will lose their jobs, and millions of people will lose their homes, both in the US and Canada. This is coming. However, what the Muslims have a leg up on is, particularly Black Muslims, is that Black Muslims already understand that we ain't got no friends anyways. Okay, we should understand that to be anyways. We should know this. We should understand this, and we don't need to be involved in the civil war that's coming. To be honest, we don't have to. Let them folks fight them folks, and just mind your own Black business. It's when the poop hits the fan, and it inevitably will, and you're gonna start seeing some crazy stuff starting this week. I promise you. You heard it here first, okay? And when the poop hits the fan, what y'all need to concentrate on is making sure that you're united, make sure that you're close knit, and making sure that you're taking care of each other. That's what you need to worry about. Don't be worrying about these folks who are about to end each other. Watch when the smoke clears in California. We're not talking about poor folks here in California who are losing their homes. We're talking about very rich, wealthy folks who are losing their homes. You see, when poor folks lose their homes, they're still at the whims and the of the elites, you know? If the powers that shouldn't be say they ain't getting none, guess what? You're not getting nothing. Remember Hurricane Katrina? Yeah, who remembers Hurricane Katrina? Y'all remember Hurricane Katrina? Calling American citizens refugees in their own country, alleged own country. Black folks are still suffering from what happened in Hurricane Katrina. Weeks and weeks and weeks on end, bodies of black folk were just sitting on the streets. Who remembers that? Hurricane Katrina wasn't that long ago. What was that, like maybe 20 years ago or something? One of y'all can look up Hurricane Katrina. Look how they handled that. Because it was mostly poor black people in New Orleans and stuff. Millions displaced and never were able to go back in America. But now you're talking about rich white folks. That's a different ballgame altogether. Okay. That is a different thing. Y'all ain't ready for what's about to happen in the US. Y'all are not ready. Okay. You think those folks are going to stand for billions going to the Ukraine, billions going to God's chosen people? Okay. Y'all think that you think they fit into let all that happen while insurance companies decide they ain't gonna pay out insurance claims on their $3 million, $4 million, $8 million homes? Yeah, Hurricane Katrina in 2005. That's not that long ago. 24 years ago. That's not that long ago. But anyways, family, like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. And we were going to see you guys later on this week, inshallah. And free the